And for the first time in the history of this channel, I'm recording a video in a lab. Yeah, this is a real lab, and I'm here with a real researcher. This guy is Diogo. He's a biologist from the University of São Paulo with a PhD in biology, specializing in stem cells. Stem cells, whoa, here's a nice word for you to learn. And he's the father of two amazing boys, and they are the reason why we met in Brazil. But we'll talk about it later. Thanks for having me here, Diogo.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity to talk with a lot of people.
And it's a nice opportunity for you, Brazilians, to meet another Brazilian who has made it. You know, he's here in San Diego, in California. It's not so easy to get here. Or is it?
No.
I don't know. Let's talk about it. So we're going to talk about his work and also about life in San Diego. Mas antes disso, eu quero te lembrar que se você quiser falar inglês, você precisa realmente praticar. E a melhor forma de praticar sua conversação é, sem dúvida, através do Cambly, que é uma plataforma na qual você pode fazer aulas com tutores nativos de diversos lugares do mundo e que vai, com certeza, te ajudar a pegar essa fluência que a gente tanto precisa para se comunicar. No Cambly, você pode fazer aulas particulares, em grupo, tem o Cambly Pro também, em que você pode fazer um plano mais personalizado para você. Nas aulas em grupo, vai ser você mais duas pessoas que podem ser de qualquer lugar do mundo, que também estão aprendendo inglês, e o seu tutor nativo guiando toda essa conversa. E no Cambly Pro você tem aulas estruturadas e focadas nos seus objetivos, com tutores nativos especializados te guiando nessa jornada. E por tempo limitado você consegue 50% de desconto no Cambly, usando aqui o meu código, viu? O link também tá na descrição, então toca logo, porque a promoção pode acabar a qualquer momento. E você pode também criar uma conta gratuita no Cambly agora, para você usar todos os recursos que eles têm gratuitamente para você. E inclusive tem um teste de speaking preparado para você que você pode fazer clicando no link aqui na descrição. Então bora pro vídeo. So, Diogo, where are you from in Brazil and how did you come here to the United States? What happened?
Yeah, I'm from São Paulo, the capital. I study biology at University of São Paulo and then did the master's and the PhD there. And life drive me to open a company, and then a company brought me to here, to the US, to the UCSD.
And how was this process? You had a company, but you're a biologist. What happened?
Yeah, during my PhD, when I really started working with stem cells, I was kind of frustrated with the PhD, and this is very common in Brazil. Yeah.
I've never been frustrated in my PhD.
You know that, so you leave that.
We've talked about it. It's hard. It's a hard period in life.
Yeah. I was lucky to have a PI, the main investigator of the lab that I worked, and he realized I was not so happy doing what I was doing. He also realized that I had this behavior of I'm not afraid of doing difficult stuff, trying to do different things. And he proposed me to open a company based on the research we were doing. I had some goals. I was trying to transform stem cells in cardiac cells to study some disease, but we could use this technology to develop new drugs or new medicines. And then I decided, I want to do that because unfortunately in Brazil, there's not a lot of companies working with stem cells. So instead of trying to be a better researcher and then look for a position in the industry, I decided to open a company during the PhD and then we could make it with some help of the São Paulo government, trying to do a lot of different stuff, a lot of different things happening in the company. And one of the things were we met Alisson Muotri, which is my PI here in the US, and he had some cell therapy products that he wanted us to develop together with him. So I started working with neuron cells. So I used the same stem cell that I was doing cardiac cells to make neuronal cells. And then I came here to his lab while I was in the company to work in this project together. But then we needed to close the company. And Alisson proposed me to keep working here. He had some grants that he could pay me. And then I talked to my wife. We already had 2 kids. I told her San Diego is like this and that. And then we decided to take the shot and let's try to live there for a while and we see if we like or not. out. So I told Alison, hey, is that grant still available for me? And he said, yes, if you want to start working with it, we can make it happen.
And what is a typical day in the lab look like? What do you usually do here?
Yeah, most of the time we are in the cell culture room. We will probably have some images from that, but basically I work with cells, really small things. We cannot see by naked eyes. We need to take special care with the cells. So we have this thing that we call incubator that has controlled temperature, controlled humidity. We give food for the cells, and it's a liquid food. We remove the old liquid, put a new one. That is most of the time. So we have a lot of plates with cells, and we change. We call it, we cultivate the cells. That takes a lot of time. And then we make the experiments. We sometimes treat the cells with some drugs to try to develop a new treatment for a disease. So we have different neuronal disease that we are working on to try to find a cure.
Can you give us an example?
When I got here, I was working with Rett syndrome. It's a neurodevelopmental disease.
Neurodevelopmental disease.
Yeah. But it's a genetic disease. So we know which gene is causing the disease. We know some pathways. So we can try to do cell therapy to cure the disease. It's using the cells from the patient, correct the cells, and then give it back. This is something people do a lot of time in a lab like ours. And then I moved to gene therapy, which is using not the cells itself, the genes, the corrected genes that we deliver into the cell to correct the wrong ones the cell has. So it's kind of complex. So after that, we make these treatments. We need to analyze what happened, but we are working with something that we cannot see by naked eyes. And so we bring the cells to this bench, like this structure you are seeing in the background. And then we work with the pipettes. It's everything.
Pipette.
Yeah.
It's funny. I didn't know this word in English, but I guess by the context.
It's this. This is a pipette. We use a lot. So this is the liquid nitrogen tank. It's where we store the cells. So we cultivate them in the tissue culture. And when we need to save them for later, we freeze them at minus 196 Celsius degrees. It's super cold. This is where we store the cells. I just get this here. My cells are in small tubes in this box, and they are probably feeling super cold. Yeah, so when I need to work the cells again, I just grab a tube and bring back to the tissue culture.
What's the role of English in your life as a researcher?
Yeah, I couldn't do anything that I'm doing right now if I didn't know how to speak English. Mm-hmm. But the good thing is we don't need to be perfect speakers. People here will understand. Until I was 20-something years old, while I entered in the university in Brazil, I realized that I loved science. But that comes with the necessity to speak in English, because English is the language of science. So I needed to learn English better. That's when I really started to take some course, and that was I didn't have Carina. I didn't have English Brazil at that time.
What a shame.
But I started to read a lot, and that was important because most of the papers, we call papers, the scientific information was in English. So that was totally mandatory to know.
And how was your English before coming to San Diego, and how is your English now?
I could read super well, no problem with that. That doesn't change much after being here. I'm already 3 years now here.
Yeah, 3 years.
I believe the most important thing was losing the blockage we have. They're afraid of speaking. The fear we have speaking English. So since I needed to speak in English, so I started speaking. And when I realized, hey, the Americans doesn't care if you make some mistakes. If I'm able to talk and they are able to understand, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I do that a lot. I say she instead of he. I change these things, and I don't need to correct myself all the time. The conversation just flows. And that gave me a freedom to just speak. I don't know if I will say something wrong. I would just say, we just need to talk. When I start doing that with some help from YouTube, one big change was understand them easier.
Understanding them
more easily. And like these contractions that they do a lot.
And we're in California. So they have a very specific accent. I can tell that sometimes it's hard even for me. And not that I'm the perfect English speaker, but I work with English and sometimes what did this person say? Because they speak like, this is California.
Yeah, I remember some of the videos that I watch online was from people from California. It's not that I need to talk like them, but I want to be
able to understand.
That helps to understand, but I want to speak English without the big accent. I don't need to. I want. It's something from me.
You want to keep improving.
Yeah. And since I'm here, why not? I know it's different. And for me, the biggest difference is that the gonna, that they almost reduce for I'm wanna. Like, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm
gonna go now.
So when you start hear them saying I'm gonna, you already know when they say that sound, the weird sound that we are not used to, they are telling this like, how's it going? I think that's that thing that changed. I started to develop better a daily vocabulary, how people introduce themselves. One thing that I like a lot, we don't teach that much in Brazil. Like when you are meeting someone, hey, nice to meet you. Likewise. For me, it's so nice. Yeah. Nice to say, likewise. And they understand. It's so weird for us. Usually we say, nice meeting you too. Or, we can answer in like full sentence a lot of different ways. But saying likewise is something cool. When I say to people, hey, nice meeting you, and they say likewise, now I know what they are talking about. Before I was, likewise? What? So these small things, I think I improved a lot. I'm always trying to speak better with the accent, but not as an obligation.
And not trying to become an American, but you want to neutralize a little bit of your accent. Yeah. Let's talk about your accent. What do Americans say when they hear your accent? Do they ask, where are you from? Or do they say anything or nothing?
Most of the time when I'm talking in English with my wife in places or with different people, they don't ask a lot. I don't know if it's some concern to not have some prejudice. Prejudice. Because here in California, we have a lot of people from different places. So I believe they are used to listen different accents in a way that is not so weird for them right now. People don't ask me a lot because of my accent. But when I speak in Portuguese with my wife or my kids, some people say, that is not Spanish. What language are you speaking? And then we say it's Portuguese. And some people might say, yeah, I noticed your accent is not exactly American. And now I understand because you are different people. It's from Portuguese, Brazil. It's important to say it's different. I got to know a person from Portugal working in the lab. His English was super good.
His English was...
Yeah, and it's a different accent. He has a little bit of accent, but it was different from ours accent.
Yeah, because Portuguese from Brazil is like very different from the one in Portugal now. It's becoming more and more and more different. Maybe one day it will become another language. I don't know, because it's so different. For me, it's really hard to understand a person from Portugal speaking Portuguese, which is my language. I think it's harder than understanding British and American English, for example. Isn't it?
Yeah, I believe we have way more words that are different from different countries.
And talking about accent, your kids nowadays, you have no idea. So we met because of the kids in the playground. That's our life.
Yeah, in Brazil.
In Brazil. And then he came here with his family, and now we're visiting his family here, and we decided to make this video here. His kids didn't speak English when they were 4. I think Nee was 4, right?
Yeah.
It was basically the colors, the animals and
numbers,
stuff. Yeah, numbers. He knew the basic stuff. And now his accent, you have no idea. 3 years later, he sounds like an American. And he says things that sometimes what was that, Nick? Can you teach me that? So he's very, very American now.
Yeah.
What do you think about the way they speak now? Do you sometimes don't understand what they say, or?
Yeah, for me, Nicholas has a very nice English now, and it's kind of a confusing situation for us because we want to speak Portuguese with them so they don't lose the Portuguese. But at the same time, we want to speak English with them because they are teaching us a lot of slangs. They get out of the school and they are super excited they only study in English, and we need to remind them, hey, let's talk Portuguese at home. We don't know. We want them to keep the Portuguese, but we can use them to improve our English.
Sure.
Because they learn so fast. Like after 3 months, Nicholas was already speaking English.
3 months.
3 months in the school. But now, 3 years later, his English is super good. He helps a lot to correct us. And sometimes he doesn't understand some words that we say with our accent. We don't know how to pronounce exactly. And we say the word and he says, oh, did you mean that? So he corrects the how we pronounce the words. It's good. He's becoming our teacher.
Your private teacher?
In pronunciation.
Both of them, because even Leo is 4 years
Yeah.
old, but his accent is also amazing. It's like, wow, not only his accent, but
Yeah.
their vocabulary. I think that's the difference. They have a huge vocabulary.
That's one nice thing. They teach us a lot. So sometimes they came with new words and we say, hey, what? What does that mean?
For me,
don't
I would
know.
say stuff. And then it has the very specific word to describe that thing.
Yeah,
This
that's
is very
super
cool. And it's interesting that they even have a foreign accent in Portuguese now, right?
Yeah.
I noticed they have like a different accent when they speak Portuguese with me.
Yeah. When my parents are here, we force them to speak Portuguese.
We force them to speak Portuguese.
Yeah, most of the time. We keep reminding them like, hey, Portuguese with grandpa and grandma. And we really, it's easy to notice their accent in Portuguese as a gringo.
It's really cute. It's really cute. And do you remember any funny situation or English mistake, specific English mistake you've made?
Yeah, it's not funny. It's super embarrassing now that I remember that. It's funny, but we were at the lab meeting. I was doing the presentation, and at a certain point, I wanted to say I had a lot of work, manual work, like pipetting a lot and take care of the cells a lot. I use the expression hand job in a meeting.
It's not very appropriate.
It's
It's a very specific of work with your hands.
You can look for that expression later, but
They do this work in a lab. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I only realized we had a lot of Brazilians in the audience, but we have some Americans and people from different places. But I realized the Americans, they smile, like, I don't know the expression for that, but they gave this little smile with the corner of the mouth, and I realized. But then I talked to an American friend I had, and he said, no, that's okay. Don't worry.
Brazilian, imagine. It would be a very different situation. Brazilians would never let it go, you know. They would like, what do you say? What? That's how it would work in Brazil. Not here. You're lucky.
Yeah, but that was embarrassing because I realized few seconds after I said that, I realized, I don't believe, but I was presenting. So I needed to keep the presentation as nothing happened. But yeah, in the end, it was okay.
Yeah. And it happens all the time. Even with me here, I've been here for only a week. And whenever I try to interact with someone, after saying what I say, I think, well, I could have said that in another way, would be more natural. But it's because I've been here for only a week. So I think if I lived here for a longer period, I think it would be more automatic for me. But it happens all the time, and that's fine. They are not worried about how you say things, or they just want to understand what you're trying to say. That's it. That's what you said. And what do you miss the most about Brazil? If you miss anything.
No, we miss family and friends for sure.
Without family, let's not count family and
okay, the fruits. Food and fruits. They are not used to eat our popular rice and beans every day. We do it at home, even though the beans, it's not exactly the one we have in Brazil. So we need to look in the Mexican food the supermarket to find some stuff. And it's interesting. We find a lot of food that are related to ours in Asian supermarkets. So tapioca, they don't have tapioca in the regular markets here, but if you go in the Asian supermarket, you can find easily.
Wow, good.
Yeah. So
you don't have pão de queijo here, do you?
no, but we buy the tapioca to make the pão de queijo, because this is something we miss a lot. The kids love pão de queijo. For me, mainly is the fruits. The fruits in Brazil, we have a bigger variety of fruits and they taste better. The tropical fruits, because the cold fruits like strawberry, cherries, and then here it's better.
But berries in general.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even the banana, I think it was a little bit tasteless. Yeah.
We have, for the Americans, we have only one type of banana. We can find different types in the Asian supermarkets, but like in Brazil, we have 5, 6, 7 different types of banana and you can choose the best one you like. But here we only have banana nanica. Which I don't like.
I'm kidding. I know how to say that in English.
But yeah, even the banana nanica doesn't taste the same. No. And this banana nanica comes from the Caribbean mostly. It's not from the US, but it doesn't taste the same as the fruits we have in Brazil. So that means a lot because I love.
And let's go back and talk about your work. There's something we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
But you're doing something that's related to NASA, and let us know more about it.
Yeah, we are trying to find ways to make possible to live in space.
To live in space. You see what this guy is doing.
So basically, there are 2 major problems when we are in space, which are microgravity and cosmic radiation. In our lab, this new lab, we try to understand how we can solve that problem and different ones. In my case, I'm studying how to protect the DNA from cosmic radiation. So we are working with brain organoids. It's not cells. We put all the cells together to form a structure that resemble the brain. Some people say mini brains.
So a brain organoid is like a mini brain.
It's like a mini brain.
Okay.
So it's a structure that it's more similar to the brain than cultivating neurons in a plate.
Can we see the mini brains?
We will see the mini brains.
Ooh, I'm so curious. Do they look like a brain? Like a normal?
No, it's just a small circle, like 2 millimeters. Sphere, but it's super cool. So we make these structures in the lab, and then there are some companies that created ways to ship these organoids in a structure and put in the rockets to send to the international station. So currently we have organoids there that we are studying long-term in space. It will complete 6 months in January that they are there. So
they are already there?
We have some organoids there.
In space.
In space. It's not my project exactly. So for my project, we first need to understand some things on Earth. And then if the treatment I'm doing with the cells to protect the DNA works here, then we will send them to space to see if this treatment is work really with cosmic radiation. Because here we only study radiation. We don't have a lot of cosmic radiation getting here. It's something we can work with. We can work the regular radiation here and then send the cells to space. This is the incubator, and it's where we keep the cells, the brain organoids. The brain organoids are shaking here.
And would it also reduce the effects of radiation therapy here on Earth, like treatments for cancer?
Yeah, this is something cool. It's not only related to living in space. Basically, it's protecting DNA from radiation. So from people who has cancer and need to do radiotherapy, we might be able to use the same technology, the same treatment to protect the other cells of the patient. So we can also use this technology to using radiation therapy for people who has cancer. So we protect the other cells around the cancer area. So the radiation will only hit the cancer cells. So it's nice in this way. We can help living in the space, but we can also use the same technology on Earth to help people with cancer.
Do you sometimes stop and hear what you're saying, because I don't think you would have imagined when you decided to study biology at USP back in the day that you would be doing something that would be sent to space for you to check if it's working. Jesus.
Yeah, I never thought about that. What I'm doing right now, it's edge science, even in the US. Mm-hmm. There's really few people working with that, and I'm very lucky to be one of these people.
And what did you want to do when you became a biologist? Now I'm curious. What made you study biology?
I started studying biology because I wanted to understand how our body works. So I started with genetics, and then science led me to this situation with work with stem cells and
your wife, Deborah, is also a biologist, but she chose another path.
Yeah.
Or maybe life led her to another path, another path, right? And we're going to talk to her too. Yes, we're going to have a conversation in English with Deborah. It's going to be like different topics because they have followed different paths, as I said. But thank you so much, Diogo. It was a very nice conversation. It's so funny because, as I said, we met in the parquinho. So we were in the playground. I didn't know who this guy was. Yeah. We're talking about kids, life, food.
And I didn't know who she was because it was a pandemic time. So everybody using mask. But when I hear her voice, I know this person.
You followed my channel before?
I followed you before. So when I listened to your voice, I know this person. Then I went back to YouTube and, I believe it's her. And then I see you with the teacher or the hat.
I had English in Brazil.
With English in Brazil. It's her.
So you see, if this smart guy here has followed my channel for a long time, why haven't you subscribed to my channel yet? Então clica aqui no botão de se inscrever, porque a gente tem essas conversas aqui em inglês, muitas vezes não em português, só para eles ouvirem tua voz em português também.
Eu ainda falo português melhor do que eu falo inglês.
Mas é isso, espera, corta pra daqui uns aninhos aqui.
Smash the subscribe button.
Smash the subscribe button. E é engraçado que os meninos gostam de YouTube, né?
Gostam.
Mas eles falaram, mas o Mr. Beast é maior que você. E eu falei, ainda assim. Aí o Matheus falou assim, ai mãe, que pena, né? Nossa, eles acham que eu tô a páreo com o Mr. Beast, mas tá tudo bem.
Difícil.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
E a gente se vê no próximo vídeo.
Bye.